Been expanded local newscast brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and the morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. A leader from the Vaults recently presented to the Clinton Rotary Club about the effect social media has had on children and teenagers. Tammy Wilson is the executive director of the Vault in Clinton and reports her presentation was based on research as well as her experience with local students. She says teenagers can develop mental health issues due to devoting too much time to social media.
Yeah, I spoke at Rotary. Just been like watching kids with their social media and just how prevalent it is in our society. You know, there's no getting away from it, and our kids are just inundated, and some to the point of just being almost addicted to it. I just did some research and found out that the top there are mental health issues. There have been studies done, and there are actually mental health issues that are associated that can develop in a teen as a result of too much social media.
Mm-hmm.
It's a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, I thought today we could just talk a little bit about it, just to give parents a heads up that, you know what, this is a real thing, and it is affecting our kids and your kids. The top 5 mental health issues are depression, anxiety, sleep deprivation,
Mm-hmm.
envy, like jealousy and envy, and communication issues. I mean, those all affect day-to-day life.
Many problems with social media stem from it showing the highlight reel of someone's life. Seeing only positive aspects of someone's life can make teens jealous. Wilson gives an example from her research of what a social media influencer learned from quitting social media.
A perfect example that I found when I was doing my research, Seth, was there was this a young woman by the name of Asena O'Neill, and she was an Instagram star who actually left the social media spotlight because she was miserable despite like making a career of her life online. And if you would look at her, and all these, she had a massive following, especially young people, specifically young people. And she was this huge star, but she was miserable. And all the kids saw would be her glamour and her glitz and her fun and her, all the stuff that she was doing. And like you said, the highlight reel. And one of her statements was, I told myself that when I have heaps of views, people would see me, that I would feel valued, I would feel happiness. But then she said, now I don't even know what is real and what is not, because I have let myself be defined by something that is so not real. And she warns her viewers that, and this is a pretty powerful statement, she said, happiness based on aesthetics will suffocate your potential here on earth.
Wilson indicates the Vault has helped several young people dealing with mental health to take either a break from social media or delete their accounts completely. She notes they feel happier and can focus more on what matters to them.
Oh, we are seeing that all the time, Seth. Our kids, and we've had kids that actually have taken a bold step to either fast from social media for a while or completely get off or whatever. And it is a bold step. And it's especially for young people, like there's the FOMO. And that is so strong with our young people. But that what you have experienced is a real thing, Seth. And I would just encourage parents to encourage their teenagers to just take a break. They don't have to completely get off of it, but just have some times where you can take this lady, this is Asena O'Neill, she said, that she encourages her by saying, turn off your phones somewhere, and then talk to people who are doing that as well.
Wilson encourages parents to talk with their children about social media and the effect it is playing on their mental health if they report showing signs of depression or anxiety. Wilson says a mental health professional can help. Whether you're a goal setter or making a list for the first time but haven't started on your 2023 resolutions, a mental health professional has some tips so you don't get discouraged. Nadia Kleekamp is the Associate Director of Community Health at Chestnut Health Systems and explains you want to set goals that are realistic but also measurable.
Really, when you're setting a goal, my recommendation, things that I've gone and used personally and things I've shared with some of our local coalitions and what they've worked on with their students in their mentoring programs is the SMART goal framework. And SMART is an acronym. And when you're setting goals, you want to look to make sure that that goal is specific, it can be measured, it's attainable, it's realistic, and it's timely. So if I'm going to, I'll use your example, save $100,000, is that realistic, or is it something that I can do within the next year? If my income allows for that, maybe, but realistically, that's probably not the case. So let's start a little bit smaller so I can be hopefully more successful in obtaining my goals. So recommendation, use that SMART goal framework, no matter how big or how small, or for a group of people, or for you as an individual, or even for your family. And that would be how to make it more specific. So thinking about, okay, I am envisioning a career change, or you're wanting to save for your future home. Okay, you see your big, large, and the end goal, but there are steps you can take and strategies to break down your goal into smaller pieces that you can hopefully, are able to achieve it and feel like you've accomplished something. Because some of these bigger goals that we have within our lives can seem kind of daunting because, you don't see planning for something 6 months out, year out, 5 years down the road. That's great. But people like instant success or better or quicker gratification. So if we can set smaller goals and achieve them incrementally, the more success and momentum we're going to gain in trying to reach that long-term goal.
When setting a goal that would be considered mental or emotionally health-centered, Kleekamp recommends being intentional about your time and making sure you set time aside for yourself.
I would suggest really being intentional about our time and our time management. So, if you are working, I don't know about you, but I'm in front of a computer screen quite a majority of my day. So being intentional about taking time to step away from my screen, maybe taking my dog on a walk or having just some time to myself, moving my body, other things to help with mental health is a lot of people like meditation. That's an option, or any opportunity for thoughtfulness and mindfulness is an opportunity to be quiet in your own thoughts and not allowed to be stressed or impact of the environment around you. So taking some time for self-care, getting a good amount of sleep, whatever that looks like for you, and eating a well-balanced diet are all great self-care tools that we can take into the new year. I know it is common with the new year to have like big fads with dieting and stuff like that, but even just understanding portion sizes in moderation and the variety of foods that can impact your diet.
Kleekamp stresses those incremental goals on the way to a bigger goal as well. Get news anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Your own home without the maintenance. If you're 55 or better, a beautiful Liberty Village villa could be yours. This is Erin, and I invite you to come take a tour of our move-in ready villa. Click the Liberty Village icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Simply the finest.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
With SRN Sports, I'm Jim Bartow. Las Vegas Raiders coach Josh McDaniels said on Wednesday that Jarrett Stidham will start the final 2 games at quarterback in place of Derek Carr. McDaniels cited the struggles of the offense over the past month as reason for the switch. The Raiders host the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday. The AP is reporting the Boston Red Sox and right-hander Corey Kluber have agreed to a $10 million one-year contract pending a successful physical. Meanwhile, the Miami Marlins have agreed with infielder Gene Segura on a 2-year, $17 million contract. That deal is also contingent on Segura passing a physical. 82-year-old Brazilian soccer great Pele's hospitalization nears 1 month. The 3-time World Cup winner's cancer has advanced, and doctors at Albert Einstein Hospital recently said he's under elevated care related to kidney and cardiac dysfunctions. This is SRN Sports. Bo Nix threw a 6-yard touchdown pass to Chase Cota on 4th down with 19 seconds left, and Camden Lewis's point after attempt bounced off the left upright and went through to give number 15 Oregon a wild 28-27 victory against North Carolina in the Holiday Bowl on Wednesday night at Petco Park. KJ Jefferson passed to Rashad Dubinion for a 2-point conversion in the third overtime, and Arkansas held off a furious second-half rally by Kansas for a 55-53 win in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl on Wednesday night. Riley Leonard threw for 173 yards and ran for 2 touchdowns, and Duke walked away with a 30-13 victory over UCF in the Military Bowl. And Texas Tech took advantage of 3 early turnovers to build a big lead and held on for a 42-25 win over Ole Miss in the Texas Bowl. This is SRN Sports.
Time now for a look at sports. I'm Seth Lawrence with this report. The Clinton Lady Maroons hung around with Tuscola for 3 quarters, but could not muster the offense late as the Lady Warriors pulled away for a 55-44 girls basketball Holiday Hoopla Championship at the Seaver Center at Monticello High School Wednesday night. The two teams went back and forth throughout the third quarter. The Lady Maroons even led 38-37 going to the fourth. Tuscola led by as many as 15 late, though. The Lady Warriors had 3 players score in double figures. Sydney Moss had 15 points and 8 rebounds. Ella Boyer scored 15 as well. Izzy Wilcox scored 12 for Tuscola, while Harley Woodard grabbed 8 boards. Clinton was led by Michaela Keppel with 14 points and 6 rebounds. Clara Dempsey scored 8 points. Tuscola shot 49% for the game and held Clinton to 32.7% shooting. The Lady Maroons did a good job on the boards, being out-rebounded just 32-30. The Lady Warriors turned 16 turnovers into 16 points and had 10 points in transition. Tuscola wins the Holiday Hoopla and remains undefeated at 18-0. Clinton falls to 10-8. The Lady Maroons return home next Thursday night to host Tri-Valley. The Tuscola Warriors use suffocating defense to roll past Monticello 42-32 and win the 2022 Holiday Hoopla Boys Basketball Tournament Wednesday night at the Seaver Center at Monticello High School. The Sages' offense sputtered all night, starting right out of the gate, where Tuscola scored the first 8 points and led 12-2 at one point. The Warriors held a 12-2 advantage after the first, 12-4 advantage after the first, rather. The Sages were then shut out for the second time in a quarter this season when Tuscola opened up a 29-13 lead after 3 quarters. The Warriors' offense wasn't much more efficient, scoring just 6 points in the frame. Monticello made it close late, but could not get the deficit under 10. Jordan Quinn led all scorers for the Warriors with 15 points and 6 rebounds. Cam Sweetman scored 10. Monticello was led by Trey Welters, 12 points and 4 assists. Drew Shepard added 7 points and 6 rebounds. The Warriors scored 30 of their 42 points in the paint. Tuscola goes to 13-1 overall, while Monticello drops to 8-5. After the New Year's holiday, the Sages host Teutopolis at the Seaver Center at 7 p.m. Tuesday night. Hear the action on 95.9 FM WEZC and online at DeWittDailyNews.com. In a game heard Wednesday afternoon here on WHOW, the Clinton Maroons down GCMS 57-37 to take third place in convincing fashion at the 25th annual Monticello Holiday Hoopla. Clinton jumped out to a 15-8 third quarter lead and never looked back. The Maroons built the advantage to 17 by half and cruised the rest of the way. Clinton's scoring was led by junior Dawson Graves with 16 points. Brooks Kluver dropped in 14, and junior Mason Walker, the Surf Pro of Paya DeWitt County Player of the Game, added 13 points, including a couple of highlight reel plays. Gibson City was led by Ty Crabette with 12 points. The loss drops the Falcons to 10-3 on the season. The Maroons improved to 13-2 with the win and will travel to Leroy on January 3rd. The next Maroons Game of the Week broadcast comes up on January 6th when Clinton hosts Sullivan in CIC play. Decatur LSA jumped ahead early and held off Maroa Forsyth in a 49-40 win at the Decatur St. Teresa Holiday Tournament Wednesday night. Sebastian Hill helped set the tone for LSA early, scoring 10 of his game-high 19 points in the first quarter as the Lions led 19-10 after the first. The Trojans mounted a comeback in the third, trailing 37-32 after three quarters, but could not finish the comeback. Jamar Campbell scored 10 for LSA. The Trojans were led by Caden Mowers, 12 points. Decatur LSA is undefeated at 13-0. The Trojans fall to 5-8 overall and continue tournament action tonight, taking on Arthur Lovington at Woodhammond at 6 p.m. Toby Akani's 18 points helped the University of Illinois Chicago defeat Illinois State 55-51 Wednesday night. Akani had 7 boards and 7 blocks for the 9-5 Flames, who go to 1-2 in the Missouri Valley. Jace Carter scored 9 points and added 7 rebounds. Phillip shot 2 for 6 from the floor and 4 of 4 from the free throw line to finish with 9 points. Darius Burford finished with 10 points for the 6-8 Redbirds, who dropped to 1-2 in the Valley. Malachi Poindexter had 9 points. Seneca Knight added 8. Okani scored 7 points in the first half for UIC, who led 33-17 at the intermission. UIC was outscored by 12 points in the second half, but hung on for the win. Okani led the way with 11 second half points. ISU will host Northern Iowa on Saturday. Drew Freiberg's 21 points helped Belmont down Bradley 63-60 Wednesday night. Freiberg had 6 rebounds for the 9-5 Bruins, who go to 2-1 in the Missouri Valley. Keyshawn Davidson had 15 points and 5 assists. Ben Shepard finished 4 for 15 and went 2 for 5 from beyond the arc to finish with 11. Rank Mast led the way for the Braves with 12 points to go to 9-5 overall and 2-1 in the Valley. Malavi Leons had 11 points for Bradley. Freiberg scored 9 in the first half, and Belmont went into the break trailing 38-34. Belmont outscored Bradley by 7 in the second half. Freiberg led the way with 12 second half points. Bradley will host UIC on Saturday. DeMar DeRozan scored 42 points and rallied the Chicago Bulls past Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks 119-113 in overtime Wednesday night. The Bulls trailed by 15 early in the fourth and were down 11 with less than 3 minutes to go in regulation, only to pull even in the closing seconds. DeRozan had a steal and a pass to Ayo Dosunmu for a tying dunk, then scored 10 in overtime. Nikola Vucevic hit a 3 in the extra session, and the Bulls beat one of the NBA's best after losing to one of the worst, the Houston Rockets, just 2 nights earlier. Chicago is a combined 5-1 against the top 3 in the East in Boston, Brooklyn, and Milwaukee. They're also 2-0 against Miami, who reached the conference finals last season. Giannis matched a season high with 45 points and set one with 20 rebounds. He also committed 2 turnovers in the closing seconds of regulation as Milwaukee extended their season-high losing streak to 4. DeRozan made it a 2-point game near the end of regulation with a cutting layup, then stole Giannis's inbound pass intended for Grayson Allen and fed Dosunmu for a dunk to tie it at 106 with 7.8 seconds remaining. Antetokounmpo got called for traveling with about a second left. The Bucks were up by 4 in overtime when DeRozan scored on a finger roll and Vucevic nailed a 3 from the top of the key to put Chicago ahead 111-110 with 1:28 left. DeRozan made 2 free throws before Milwaukee's Bobby Portis hit a 3 to tie it at 113 with 41 seconds to play. DeRozan then hit a 12-footer after Giannis missed a fadeaway shot, made 4 free throws in the final 13.9 seconds. Zach LaVine scored 24 for Chicago. Vucevic had 15 points and 14 rebounds as the Bulls improved to 2-0 against the Bucks this season after losing 18 of the previous 20 to them, counting the playoffs. Portis had 20 points and 11 rebounds against his former team. Drew Holiday missed the game because of a non-COVID illness, and Chris Middleton remains sidelined because of a sore right knee. Things got heated midway through the quarter when Chicago's Patrick Williams bumped Grayson Allen into DeRozan. The Bull star fell to the floor, popped up, and had some heated words for Allen, who's not exactly a popular figure in Chicago. Bulls guard Alex Caruso missed 7 weeks with a broken wrist following a hard foul by Allen in a game in Milwaukee last January. Williams got called for a foul on the play. Allen made 2 free throws, and the crowd showered him with boos. DeRozan and Portis also got technicals with 5:47 to play in the quarter. After Portis made a free throw, the Bulls will host the Pistons on Friday. Get sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Well, the flu season is here again, and our Warner Hospital and Health Services walk-in clinic inside our family medicine clinic is ready to treat you. CEO Paul Scowen here, reminding you when you suffer from all those symptoms that are caused by flu-like fever, headache, congestion, and that blah feeling, come to us. No appointment, no problem at the Warner Hospital walk-in clinic. Get here and get feeling better. Just another way we provide quality care close to home.
Do you know what to do when a car is pulled over on the side of the road? First, reduce your speed. Second, change lanes if possible. Third, proceed with caution. These 3 simple steps can be the difference between life and death. The next time you're on the road, do the right thing. Slow down, move over, and drive like your life and their life depends on it. Sponsored by the Illinois Broadcasters Association. Aired in cooperation with this station. Thanks to the AAA Auto Club for their financial support in the airing of this message.
I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. There's been another apology from the top brass at Southwest Airlines as the carrier continues struggling in the wake of the devastating winter storm. Thousands of travelers remain stranded, with another 2,300 plus flights canceled today. Buffalo Mayor Byron Brown says we're getting there, with crews making progress in clearing the city streets of all the snow that fell across western New York State. The driving ban in Buffalo has now been lifted. The Buffalo airport is open again, although many flights have been canceled. Congressman-elect George Santos, he lied about a number of things during his campaign. He's now under investigation by the feds, as well as the Nassau County, New York District Attorney's Office. On Wall Street at the opening bell, the Dow up 179 points. More details at srnnews.com.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell the...
From the newsroom of Regional Radio and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Seth Lawrence with this local news update. A DeWitt County nonprofit leader presented to the Clinton Rotary Club about the effect of social media on kids and teens. Tammy Wilson is the executive director of the Vault in Clinton and reports her presentation was based on research as well as working with local youth at the Vault. She notes teenagers can develop mental health issues due to devoting too much time to social media. Many problems with social media is it shows a, quote, highlight reel of someone's life. Seeing only positive aspects of an individual's life can make teens jealous of others, and Wilson gives examples from her research of what social media learned from quitting social media.
A perfect example that I found when I was doing my research, Seth, was there was this a young woman by the name of Attainable O'Neill, and she was an Instagram star who actually left the social media spotlight because she was miserable despite like making a career of her life online. And if you would look at her, you know, and all these, she had a massive following, especially young people, specifically young people. And she was this huge star, but she was miserable, and all the kids saw would be her glamour and her glitz and her fun and her, you know, all the stuff that she was doing, and like you said, the highlight reel. And one of her statements was, I told myself that when I have heaps of views, people would see me, that I would feel valued, I would feel happiness. But then she said, now I don't even know what is real and what is not, because I have let myself be defined by something that is so not real. And she warns her viewers that, and this is a pretty powerful statement, she said, happiness based on aesthetics will suffocate your potential here on earth.
Wilson indicates the vault has helped several young people dealing with mental health to either take a break from social media or delete their accounts altogether.
Oh, we are seeing that all the time, Seth. Our kids, and we've had kids that actually have taken a bold step to either fast from social media for a while or completely get off or whatever. And it is a bold step. It is, especially for young people, like there's the FOMO.
Wilson encourages parents to talk to their kids about social media and the effect it is playing in their mental health if they report or are having signs of depression or anxiety. She says talking to a mental health professional can help. Get news anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
This is staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your regional radio forecast. Cloudy skies expected this afternoon with a high of 59. Southerly winds 20 to 25 miles per hour. Cloudy skies again tonight. Chance for scattered rain showers. Lows dip down to about 40. Chance for scattered rain showers tomorrow. Highs around 44. Cloudy skies. Hear weather twice an hour or online anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com. Currently, it's 51.
This is Connie from Love It Once More Thrift Store in Clinton. I want to personally thank you for supporting our store during 2022. We are closed until Monday, January 2nd. So have a safe and happy holiday, and we will see you next year. Follow us on Facebook or visit DeWittDailyNews.com.
This is Ryan Etterback with Etterback Real Estate in Clinton. We are thankful for all the families we were able to serve this past year.
And this is Ryan Dalton, wishing you happy holidays and looking forward to serving even more families in 2023.
Learn how Etterback Real Estate in Clinton can serve you by clicking their icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Life is uncertain. Stop in and see me, State Farm Agent Jason France, on the west side of the Clinton Square, or click our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com and see how our full lineup of State Farm insurance and financial services can help protect your family.
Local farm broadcaster Jared White covers the local agriculture news you need to know. Hear his reports by downloading the free WHOW mobile app.
It's no secret that employers are having a difficult time hiring qualified personnel, whether full or part-time. The Miller Media Group wants to help you, the employer, to find the candidates you're looking for. That's why we've created IllinoisJobPost.com. That's IllinoisJobPost.com. This website is part of a broad radio and internet employment campaign available through the Miller Media Group. Contact your account manager or email sales at randyradio.com for more information. IllinoisJobPost.com is where we put the power of radio and the internet to attract prospective candidates.
Together, ADM and Benson Hill are charting new frontiers in food innovation that create new revenue opportunities for farmers. ADM's manufacturing business will scale the use of Benson Hill ultra-high protein non-GMO soybeans to deliver ingredients designed for the fast-growing plant-based protein market. This is the seed to fork frontier of food innovation. We invite you to join us. 2023 contracts with industry-leading premiums are still available. Visit BensonHillFarmers.com or ADMAdvantage.com to earn more.
Hey, this is Todd Gleason from Illinois Extension here with a time change for our daily market report on WHOW. You can now catch our daily review of the commodity markets at 5:06 on all of WHOW's many platforms. You'll still hear all of our commodity analysts and weather professionals each afternoon, but at a brand new time. And you'll still hear the weekly wrap-up of the commodity markets right here on WHOW when Commodity Week airs Saturdays at 8:30 a.m. Remember the time change for the daily closing market report on WHOW at our new time, 5:06 p.m. weekdays.
You're listening to a best of segment of the WHOW Morning Show brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Again, this is a best of the WHOW Morning Show.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. My guest on the phone this morning is Tony Kirkman. He's the executive director of the Piatt County Mental Health Center. And by the way, the morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Good morning, Tony. How are you?
Doing well, sir. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Like I said before we got started, I hope you can hear me okay this morning. I feel like I'm not projecting much volume at this point, so it's kind of disappointing. But anyways, Tony, let's dive into you and I were catching up before we got started a little bit. You are hoping to bring a program that has had some success in Piatt County and introduce it in DeWitt County. Tell us what you have going on. What are you hoping to do here?
Yeah, so it couldn't be good social work unless we had a lot of acronyms. So I'll try to keep them to a minimum. But so the a branch of the Department of Mental Health, which is, Department of Human Services, is the Substance Use Prevention and Recovery Program. Interestingly enough, it spells super, so you can make your cheesy jokes if you need to. But the super program has really leaned into trying to resource those in the recovery community that are on the spectrum of recovery of 1 day clean to 30, 40 years sober, and trying to figure out how they can put additional supports in place. So one of the programs that they have developed is called the Recovery Oriented System of Care, or ROSC. And the topic of ROSC is, again, just exactly that, breaking down stigmas of substance use, and framing it more in the mindset properly of where it should be as an addiction, not a character flaw or an issue of morality, but really a chemical addiction. So breaking down the stigma of addiction, increasing opportunities for people to access treatment, whether that's inpatient, outpatient, or just some simple recovery support services, as well as creating opportunities for the recovery or sober community to have recreational activities that refrain from having the presence of alcohol or illegal substances around. It seems like many of the adult opportunities for us to congregate normally have either alcohol or something else that possibly would be unhealthy. So the ROSC program is exactly that. It's a little bit different than what we remember from the AA 12-step program, where it's like, you go to a private room, you share your private walk of addiction, and it's all covered in this blanket of confidentiality. ROSC really means we need to celebrate people that have freed themselves from addiction, and breaking the stigma so that those that are fresh in recovery can see hope, can see support of people that have made it through to the other side. So all that to be said. Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, it just has a more personal approach as well, it feels like.
Yeah, it humanizes it.
Yeah.
Instead of saying those people, the reality is that if we're looking at stats, they say that there's somewhere around 20% of U.S. adults that struggles with a mental health issue, a diagnosable mental health issue. And many of the individuals that are in the recovery community, 50% of them have a co-occurring mental health issue. So, as a therapist, it's always interesting to me is this person addicted to a certain illegal substance, or is there a co-occurring mental health disorder that they are treating through self-medication? And that's, not everybody. Some people, it really is just the disease of addiction. So we launched that program about a year and a half ago here in Piatt County. And one of the initiatives is to form a council. And the council has a whole bunch of different subsectors in it, from law enforcement, those in the judicial system, those in the health systems, recovery support, prevention, treatment, business sector. And so people with lived experience. And so this is what I love is you have people that are fresh in recovery sitting down with the county sheriff, sitting down with the state's attorney, sitting down with the medical community. We had an encounter just a couple months ago about verbiage of what do you use as far as in language? And some people with lived experience said that we need to keep using that people-centered language of, a person with an addiction issue or a person in recovery. And there were other people that said, no, you need to use stronger language like addict, like that's who I am. And we need to not be handling that with velvet gloves. We need to be real, because if people don't address their issues, they could die. And so it's those interesting conversations of how do we engage this community? How can we better resource it? That's one of the ways that we were able to become a drug overdose prevention program and be able to get naloxone or Narcan to everywhere. And Seth, I got to tell you, I'm so impressed with the community's response. After we get through February, we will have visited and provided either naloxone or Narcan training to every single school district in Piatt and DeWitt County and many of the first responders. And so the idea is we're not condoning usage, but we're also not going to sit back and be reactive about it. We're going to be proactive and hopefully preventative and say, we have the resources in the community. In the unfortunate case that an overdose situation presents ourselves, our community will be resourced.
Now, again, our guest is Tony Kirkman, Executive Director of the Piatt County Mental Health Center. So, Tony, if I'm not mistaken, this was a grant that you received for the ROSC program. Did that have like a contingency of, okay, you get the grant for like 3 years and then you need to basically take up the program on your own from a financial perspective? Is that how that worked?
You're right. There is an expectation of sustainability because the government doesn't want communities to become dependent upon state dollars. What they're trying to do is to rally a community to say, recovery is important. It should be important to your community. And if it's important to your community, you should invest into it. So yeah, there is an expectation that it will be self-sustaining. There's some conversations at the state level of saying, well, do we kill a program if it's having good results just because of something as simple as money? So I think the state's still trying to play around with that of saying the expectation is for you to be sustainable, but we're not going to take resources from the community. So where's that balance? One of the interesting things for us is, and I've got to give a huge shout out to the DeWitt Mental Health Board, that they are also being proactive, is they have allowed us a little bit of seed money to go into the communities of DeWitt County starting in the beginning of this next calendar year to start talking to DeWitt County individuals about ROSC and what it can do, how it can resource people. How do we get community champions and partners in place? Because I'm really hopeful that we will not only be, I know we will apply, I am very hopeful that we will be accepted to bring ROSC to the communities of DeWitt County.
Yeah, definitely. Now, for those out there wondering, Tony, what does this kind of look like on a more micro level, maybe whether it's day to day, week to week, month to month? Do you mind laying that out for us? Like, what does it look like more specifically for folks that participate?
Yeah. So we hired a ROSC coordinator for Piatt County. And so on a kind of a week to week, her day fluctuates between either talking with community partners of how we can supply them with naloxone, how we can use person-centered language, how we can get resource cards into their facility that they are comfortable with. So, for example, the Illinois Helpline for individuals that are struggling with substance use, just putting resource cards. One of the other things that she does is that over here at Piatt, Kirby Medical Center has a Suboxone program, which is a medicated assisted recovery program, helping people with opioid use disorder come off of chemical dependency through the use of a medicated assisted treatment. So she comes alongside those individuals and provides case management support. So checking in on them, holding them accountable for some of their appointments, resume building skills, job development, getting community messaging out via billboards or social media. And then, of course, running our monthly ROSC Council and ensuring that we have a good representation of people with lived experience, because that's what drives this program. It's not everybody that has all the funky alphabet soup behind their name talking about those people and what those people need. It is the people with lived experience speaking to the community leaders and the treatment providers saying, you need to open up these doors and you need to listen to us because we know what we need.
Mm-hmm. And that's what kind of, for me, makes it more personal. You know what I mean? Like you said, it's people with that lived experience, advocating and connecting, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. I can tell you what addiction looks like, but because I've seen it in a textbook, and I can tell you treatment models and all of that. But if you are looking for a way out, you would much rather want to talk to a guide that's been there.
Mm-hmm. Tony, what do you have to do to make this happen in DeWitt County? You talked about the collaboration with the 708 board. Anything else you need to do to make this happen in DeWitt County?
Yeah, well, I need community partners. I need to come over there and identify somebody with lived experience that might even be interested in coming on board with us to be our ROSC coordinator. The first couple of steps is I need to get letters of support from law enforcement, school officials. I already have a commitment from the Bi-County Health Department. And so it's talking to some of these individuals. My hope is that we had a really, really great DeWitt County substance use coalition. And, the leaders of that coalition did such a wonderful job of pouring themselves and their talents into it. But the reality was those leaders had their actual work commitments too. So what it needed was a champion that was their full-time passion and their full-time job. I think we can bring it to DeWitt County. I think we have some good bones there. And obviously, just like Piatt County, the need for those in recovery to have someone support them and see them and resource them is extremely important.
Very good. Well, Tony, we look forward to how this comes about. Do you have a timeline on when you hope to get this thing going in DeWitt County?
Yeah. So, like I said, initial emails and luncheons and conversations should probably start at the top of the calendar year. I have to have a packet in place by the end of February for a submittal. And if accepted, we hit the ground running hard July 1st with council meetings, communication campaigns, and we're off to the races.
Tony, let's take a time out here, my friend. Where do folks go to learn more about the Piatt County Mental Health Center?
Yes, visit us online, PiattMHC.org. Check us out on Facebook or give me a call at 217-762-5371.
Tony Kirkman is the executive director of the Piatt County Mental Health Center. My guest on the phone here for this morning. More to come with him on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.
Let's check the opening numbers now at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Thursday. I'm Jim Taylor for the RFD Radio Network. Corn starting today slightly lower, beans slightly higher, wheat double-digit lower. March corn 6.80 1/4 down 2.5. May corn down 2 pennies, 6.79 1/2. And July corn starting today 6.73 1/4 down 1.5. January beans opening 15.07 1/2 up a penny. March beans up 1 1/4 15.15 1/2. May beans 15.22 up 3/4. March Chicago wheat 7.71 3/4 down 13 3/4. May wheat down 13 1/2. 7.79 1/4. July wheat 7.83 1/4 down 13. January bean meal 463.10 down 3.20. January bean oil 66.38 up 58 cents. A look at the opening numbers at the Chicago Board of Trade for this Thursday morning. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network.
At Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Baum Motor Company in Farmer City, our job is to help you and solve your transportation needs. This is Scott Baum. Both in Clinton or Farmer City, we'll listen and find options for a different vehicle, or we'll give you repair options to keep that car, truck, or SUV safe and trouble-free so you can continue with your busy schedule. If it has to do with transportation, we're here to help. Visit our full-service team today in Clinton or Farmer City. Baum Chevrolet Buick, right from the start.
MR Systems Wireless is your local internet provider for Clinton and surrounding area. They have the products you want and the local service you deserve. MR Systems Wireless Internet service for home or business includes unlimited data, unlimited streaming, and unlimited calling. Plans start at just $48 a month and get a free Roku 4 lease with our media packages. Get the speed you need with MR Systems Wireless. Call them at 935-2100. That's 935-2100 for MR Systems Wireless.
Central Illinois' leading online source for local news, police blotter, for the record information, obituaries, and more is DeWittDailyNews.com. Since 2008, DeWittDailyNews.com has delivered fresh, online content to internet readers, from the City Council to School Board to the County Board and more. DeWittDailyNews.com covers the local news you expect from the area's #1 local news source, and it's all absolutely free. Now you have even more ways to access DeWittDailyNews.com. Whether you're at your desktop, laptop, tablet, iPhone, or smartphone, DeWittDailyNews.com is delivered to all those platforms. That's right. It's even there on your iPhone and smartphone. The same local news, weather, and sports that's on the full-size edition is on your iPhone and smartphone just by going to DeWittDailyNews.com. If you haven't tried it, why don't you? Go to Central Illinois' leading online source for local news, police blotter, for the record information, obituaries, and more on your desktop, laptop, iPhone, or smartphone. DeWittDailyNews.com.
You're listening to a best of segment of the WHOW Morning Show, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Again, this is a best of the WHOW Morning Show.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Tony Kirkman is the executive director of the Piatt County Mental Health Center, my guest on the phone for this morning. And, you know, Tony, I don't know, we've talked in recent visits about the Illinois Youth Survey and the data that has come of that. I don't know if you have had a chance to look at that as it relates to youth and mental health, or if your counselor that's in the Piatt County schools has talked to you much about what she's seeing lately. But anything stand out to you as we think about our kids and their mental health and wellness? How about that?
Well, I would say, sadly, I'd like to see our numbers much lower than what they are. We're still hovering right around that 30% rate of 10th and 12th graders that have stated they have had significant thoughts of wanting to harm themselves in the past year. One of the things that I am very thankful for is that obviously we are engaged with our school systems through a myriad of different programs of support behavioral health wise, prevention wise. But I also want to say to your listeners over in DeWitt County, you have a fantastic behavioral health program and Heritage Behavioral Health. Jessica and Corey over there are really looking at this data closely and talking with some of the school leaders over in the Blue Ridge District and over at Clinton. Katie Arnold is fantastic over there. So you have a lot of really skilled people that are trying to address this issue. I think I told you before, there was a mental health professional I talked to at the state level that believes that the effects of COVID are going to cost us at least 7 years of deprogramming, reprogramming. We took everything from social outlets, natural transitions of prom, homecoming, graduation, the social isolation, and just the unknown, the unpredictability of everything, cause anxiety to increase threefold. And we're still seeing that. I'll give you an example, Seth, and I know it's not really teen related, but so our intake worker who sees most of the people expressing interest in behavioral health, she said we were averaging somewhere around 35 calls. She went to lunch one day, and when she returned, she had 5 voicemails from people seeking counseling.
Wow.
Yeah. So the need is there. And the one of the things that you keep hearing is the need for behavioral health professionals in the workforce. And my concern of kind of looking 5-10 years down the road is we're going to rush and try to get all of these workers pushed out into service fields, but we're failing to tell them how to take care of themselves. So what ends up happening? We just send a whole bunch of workers to burn out in 4 or 5 years.
Interesting stuff. Tony, as I look at the clock, we've got about a minute left here this morning. Any final thoughts on that topic or any others as we hit the holidays here?
Yeah, so what I would say is holidays are wonderful for some people, and it's a sad reminder for others. If any of your listeners are experiencing a mental health crisis, please do not forget Heritage Behavioral Health has their crisis line set up, but if you can't remember that number, there is a national lifeline. It's called a suicide and lifeline. It's 988. All you got to do is dial 988 and you are connected to a phone bank of trained counselors that can sit and talk with you. They're well skilled. And if it requires an in-person visit, they can dispatch professionals for you. Please reach out. We are here to help.
Tony, it's always good to talk to you, my man. Happy holidays to you and yours, and we'll catch up on the other side of the new year.
Sounds great, Seth. Happy holidays.
That sounds good. Tony Kirkman, Executive Director of the Piatt County Mental Health Center, my guest on the phone. Network news next. We stream to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton.
WHOW.
The Big 1520 WHOW Clinton, 92.3 FM W222 BG Clinton, 106.5 FM W293 DJ Normal Bloomington.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. For exhausted Southwest Airlines customers stranded at airports, the winter weather nightmare goes on. An avalanche of flight cancellations continues as the airline struggles to get back on its feet after being knocked down by the winter storm. Southwest tops the cancellation list again today at FlightAware.com. More than 2,300 of the carrier's flights have been scrubbed. And just as much of the country is regaining its equilibrium in the wake of the wintry blast, another storm is exiting California with yet another one waiting in the wings. However, it seems that these storms may remain confined largely to the west.
The National Weather Service says the new storm moved through Northern California late Wednesday into the overnight, followed by rounds of precipitation into next week. The week's first storm arrived late Monday with howling winds, driving snow, and drenching rains as it spread south. Its trailing edge has largely slipped out of Southern California, where the next big storm is predicted to hit on Saturday and extend into Sunday.
That's correspondent Keith Peters. The federal government is beefing up border security, but not along our border.
While the U.S. government provides millions of dollars for Ukrainian defense, there is no plan to replace the RC-26 spy aircraft in the U.S., and the Air Force is speeding up efforts to dismantle the program. National Guard pilots are being told to scrap the aircraft earlier than expected, even though the planes are used to monitor fentanyl smuggling across the U.S.-Mexico border.
Correspondent Tasha Stevens. Despite the Fed's best efforts to slow the economy, the job market remains strong. The number of people applying for unemployment rose just slightly last week, up by 9,000 to 225,000. Stocks are higher on Wall Street so far this morning. Right now, the Dow's up 274 points, the Nasdaq ahead 193, and the S&P 51 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Charlie Dombeck here from Key City Capital. As a practicing CPA for nearly 30 years, I have found that 80% of your ability to grow your wealth is dependent upon two factors: taxes and investment performance. At Key City Capital, we improve investment performance by diversifying capital into off-market investment opportunities in passive rental real estate and alternatives like asset-backed lending. We recover dollars that clients unnecessarily pay in the form of income taxes, creating a lifetime annuity of savings. We are a sponsor of passive, affordable single and multifamily residential rental investments, which are located in Sunbelt landlord-friendly states. These investments are the top choices in a rising interest rate and inflationary environment. They represent a store of value, protecting your capital from market volatility. Learn how we at Key City Capital can help you ultimately grow your wealth rapidly. Connect Connect with me at keycitycapital.com or give me a call at 817-912-1569.
Israeli sources say talks are underway with Hamas to return the bodies of a couple of Israeli soldiers. The latest from the Media Line's Felice Friedson.
Israeli security sources have confirmed to the Media Line that negotiations are underway with the Hamas terrorist organization to secure the release of the bodies of 2 Israeli soldiers killed during a 2014 Israeli ground operation in the Gaza Strip. Israel would release several Hamas prisoners to a Jordanian prison where they will serve 5 to 10 years. Upon their release, they will not be allowed to return to the West Bank or Gaza. Among the prisoners slated for transfer is Abdullah Barghouti, who is serving 67 life sentences, plus 5,200 years for involvement in attacks that killed many and injured hundreds during the Second Intifada from 2000 to 2004. I'm Felice Friedson, Town Hall News, Jerusalem.
News and analysis at themedialine.org and townhall.com. President Biden signs a bill to remove from the U.S. Capitol the bust of the late Supreme Court Chief Justice Roger Brooke Taney, who authored the infamous Dred Scott decision.
The bill to remove the bust passed by voice vote in both the House and Senate earlier this month. The 1857 opinion he authored ruled people of African descent were not U.S. citizens and therefore could not sue in federal court. It's a ruling so controversial it gave rise to the 13th and 14th Amendments, outlawing slavery and guaranteeing citizenship for those born in or naturalized in the U.S. Bob Agnew reporting.
Novak Djokovic has reiterated his earlier comments that he bears no hard feelings on his return to Australia after his visa cancellation and subsequent deportation in January ahead of the Australian Open. Djokovic was deported almost 12 months ago after arriving unvaccinated against COVID-19. More on these stories at townhall.com.
This is staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your regional radio forecast. Cloudy skies expected this afternoon with a high of 59. Southerly winds 20 to 25 miles per hour. Cloudy skies again tonight. Chance for scattered rain showers. Lows dip down to about 40. Chance for scattered rain showers tomorrow. Highs around 44. Cloudy skies. Hear weather twice an hour or online anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com. Currently, it's 53.
Here's owner Dave Jackson from your Clinton Save a Lot on how inflation is affecting us.
Inflation rate, and I can't give you the exact number, but it's been like 1%, 1.5%.